Sometimes you don't recognize how constant something is until it is right in your face and making itself known. That is very much the instance for fan favorite ninja master Cole, who can't seem to catch a break from gravity. It happens so much that not only has the character referenced it himself, but there are currently 2 episodes named because of his falling tendencies. But which fall is the greatest of all? I'm Sensei Wolf, and let's find out in today's top 10 Cole falls. Number 10. Cole misses his jump. This fall takes the lowest on our list because of how insignificant it is compared to the others. However, it is still a dramatic moment and is treated like a serious drop in the moment. Kai and Cole are in pursuit of Moro, who has the scroll of air jutsu, and they both lunge in epic slow motion to reach a rooftop. Kai sticks the landing, but Cole isn't as lucky as he loses his grip and drops to some cardboard boxes below. This fall is one of the first in the series for dramatic plummets for the Master of Earth. But because of the low stakes and the short distance of his drop, this takes spot number 10. Number 9. A SPINJITZU master cannot. In the same season as the previous, Cole makes a leap of faith and falls into a dark abyss underneath the first SPINJITZU master tomb. This, of course, solves the middle part of the riddle a SPINJITZU master cannot, as in, a SPINJITZU master cannot quit, and by quitting, they move on to the next puzzle. This fall was by Cole's choice, so it doesn't take a high spot on the chart, but we do dive into some of the larger plummets in the series. Number 8. Cole loses. Cole and Jay are forced to fight each other in Chen's Tournament of Elements, and because of that, one of them has to lose. After Cole wins fair and square, he forfeits his winnings and gives it to Jay. Chen's obsession with trapdoors leaves Cole to drop into the dark abyss below where we don't even know where he fell to. Since we only get to see the first second of this drop, this takes a lower rank in the list. Number 7. Jay owes him one. This quote-unquote fall is a little different than the others. Instead of gravity working like usual and Cole's trajectory leads him back to the ground, Cole instead falls off the spacecraft and starts to drift away in space with no hope to return back. Jay has to dramatically rescue him before his accidental drift leads him to fall in space forever. Because of how weird the circumstances are for this fall, it takes the 7th spot. But don't worry, there are still more epic plummets to come. Number 6. The Real Fall, Part 2. This episode has 2 large portions of falling, so I broke them up because each one should be taken as its own plummet. The second large fall in this episode takes the 6th spot, since the fall is shorter than the first one, and it ends with a tunnel slide instead of a solid drop. However, there are good lines of dialogue, and the fall is pretty hefty, so this takes the 6th spot. Time for the top 5. Number 5. Cole dies in his nightmare. In the beginning of the ice chapter, Cole barely escapes certain death before the land bounty falls off a cliff and into the fog and snow below. However, in his nightmare, Cole isn't as lucky as he wails in fear as he falls to the certain death. This is the most brutal of his falls, but yet we don't get to see him during the fall itself, which is why it doesn't take one of the top 3 spots. These falls are starting to get more and more intense though. Number 4. The Cliffs of Hysteria. This fall doesn't last long, but what gives it a high ranking is the fact that Cole self-referenced his tendency to fall a lot while falling. Well, at least he references one of the falls that hasn't made the list quite yet. This circumstance is pretty standard. Cole loses his grip on the rope while dangling cliffside and promptly drops. He takes a moment to address deja vu, and then saves himself with the rope. Nothing better than a character realizing he is falling too much mid-fall.
Not again!
Number 3. The Real Fall, Part 1. This is the longest fall Cole has done in the whole series. Long enough to stop screaming, to try multiple tactics to slow or stop their descent, and plenty of time for hilarious moments. This fall is one of the funniest and overall favorited falls in the community because it doesn't take itself too seriously, but also because the full 11-minute episode includes an almost 3-minute long non-stop fall from Cole, Vanya, and Wu. The name of this episode is called The Real Fall, which must mean there was another fall that wasn't real enough. Number 2, the fall. In one of the most dramatic scenes to date, Cole plummets from the bounty to Ninjago City as the Oni drown it in their smoke. This scene is entirely in slow-mo, has its own somber track, and is taken the most seriously out of all of the falls so far on this list. It was played as if this was his death, especially since the other ninja believed that as well. The seriousness, scope, and delivery of this fall is tragically serious and incredibly well done, which lands this at spot number 2. So, what is the greatest Cole fall in the history of Ninjago? Which moment conquers the others and takes the spot as the greatest Cole fall in the series? Number 1. Cole falls for Nia. This is the obvious choice. Not even gravity can withhold the strength of love as Cole falls head over heels for Nia in Rebooted. When Jay saved Cole from falling off the spaceship and then asked him to stay away from Nia, Cole's love for her was too much and too deep, and so he had to say no. It was because of her that led to the greatest conflict between Jay and Cole in Tournament of Elements, and it was Cole's eventual realization that him falling for Nia was ultimately not to be. And because of this, he falls again. So many falls for Cole, and this fall for Nia was without a doubt the greatest and most tragic. Thanks for joining me today for the TSV's Top 10 Cole Falls. Stick around to see what other fun Ninjago content will come next on the TSV channel.